My CEO girlfriend always loved showing off by posting my pictures in her group chat with her best friends. What she didn't know was that her so-called best friends had been eyeing me for a long time. Every time she posted a photo of me, they would all frantically screenshot and save it, some even setting it as their lock screen. They had planned to just quietly watch over my happiness. But that all changed on the day of my engagement party to Jessica Reed. My twin brother, Caleb, deliberately wore a suit identical to mine and challenged my fiancée to guess which one was a real me. Jessica just laughed confidently. There's no way I wouldn't recognize my own husband. But later that night, I saw her with my own eyes kissing my brother passionately in the wine cellar. When I caught them, Jessica dropped to her knees and cried, "Ethan, it wasn't on purpose." I got confused. You two just look so much alike. Caleb calmly picked up a piece of clothing from the floor. Don't get the wrong idea, bro. I was just testing her loyalty for you, and I can tell she really loves you. As he spoke, he deliberately tilted his head to show off the hickey on his neck. 3 months later, Caleb crashed my wedding, waving Jessica's positive pregnancy test. My parents were distraught. At this point, there's nothing else to be done. Your brother will have to be the one to marry her. I just gave a bitter smile and agreed. I turned to the 7 bridesmaids and announced, "Well, my wedding is short, 1 bride. Who wants to fill in?" Before I even finished speaking, all 7 of them shot up, frantically raising their hands. A couple even climbing onto their chairs. "Pick me, bake me, Ethan. I'll be your bride." Another shouted, "Know me, I'm the best match for you." Then Chloe Hayes stepped forward. "Let's draw straws," she said. The wedding, which had become painfully awkward, suddenly burst back to life. Chloe had someone prepare 7 straws, 6 long and 1 short. Whoever drew the short straw would become Ethan Miller's bride. I found a seat, thoroughly amused, and sat down to watch them draw. The guests' eyes were all on me. I never knew Ethan was so popular, with so many women fighting to marry him. I bet Jessica Reed is kicking herself right now for calling it off. Caleb clenched his fists in anger. Jessica, my brother is doing this just to get back at us. Mom and Dad already said we could have the wedding today. So why is he making such a scene? He's turned this whole thing into his personal stage. But Jessica looked completely unconcerned, almost bored. What's there to worry about? Those bridesmaids are my best friends. I know them. They're obviously just pretending to fight over Ethan as a joke. Why would they want my sloppy seconds? They're just messing with him. Her words reached my ears, and a cold smile formed on my lips. She had no idea that all 7 of her best friends had been secretly pursuing me behind her back for years. 3 months ago, Jessica was complaining about me in a private room at a bar. Ethan is so boring, like a dead fish in bed. He's nothing like Caleb, who knows how to have fun. They might be twins, but Caleb has this look in his eyes that's just irresistible. I have to see what he's like. I won't be satisfied until I do. 2 months ago, she was bragging in their group chat. I finally got him. I've been secretly meeting up with his brother for a while now. Even got a hotel room. And Ethan has no clue. And then there was the last time after I caught them. Jessica, thinking she'd fool me, ran back to the group chat to gloat. Ethan is such an idiot. I told him I just got confused and kissed his brother by mistake. And he actually bought it. I bet Caleb and I could hook up right under his nose while he's sleeping, and he'd never even know. Every time she said things like that, one of them would immediately forward the messages to me, each one trying to be the first. "Ethan, I was the first to warn you this time, right? That which Jessica says such awful things. You should have dumped her ages ago and let me take over. She's been hooking up with your brother for ages. You need to get rid of her. I'm not like her, Ethan. I'm loyal. I've only ever wanted you. I even spied on her for you. Let me be the one." "Me too." Another would chime in. Remembering all this, I let out a small laugh. Just then, the drawing concluded. I got the short one. Chloe announced, a triumphant smile spreading across her face. The other 6 immediately protested. "Chloe, you cheated." "Yeah, how could it be you?" "No way you're that lucky." "That doesn't count. Let's do it over." Chloe paid them no mind, simply raising a hand to signal her bodyguards to maintain order. The other 6 bridesmaids instantly fell silent. I knew it would end up like this. One muttered, "The 6 of us never stood a chance against the eyes of the Hayes family. Besides, Chloe is the most obsessed with him. She's crazy enough to do anything to get Ethan. There's no way she'd let this opportunity slip by. Yeah, whatever. Let's just go back to being bridesmaids." Amidst everyone's stares, Chloe walked toward me with a gentle smile and held out her hand. "Come on," she said. "I'm your bride." I took her hand, and we were about to head to the altar when she suddenly stopped. "Wait a second." She looked at my suit, then at her own dress and frowned. She immediately pulled out her phone and called her assistant. "That wedding ensemble I designed 2 years ago. I need it flown here now." As she hung up, I caught a glimpse of her lock screen. It was a professional photo of me, one so revealing it would make anyone blush. If I remember correctly, I had only ever sent that picture to Jessica. She always used to post my pictures in that group chat for her friends to see, showing me off like a trophy. It was a shame Jessica was so clueless. She never realized her best friends were a pack of wolves, and every single one of them wanted her boyfriend. Chloe was the most obsessed of them all. Every time Jessica posted a picture of me, she would frantically screenshot and save it, even making it her lock screen. I'd heard the other bridesmaids mention it, but I thought they were joking. Turns out it was true. While we waited for the outfits to arrive, my parents came over frowning, trying to usher me away. "Ethan, marriage is a serious commitment, not a game. You can't just pick a random bride. Since you're not getting married today, just let your brother and Jessica have the venue so they can get this over with." I laughed coldly. "Who said I'm not getting married?" In front of everyone, I took Chloe's hand. "My wife just sent someone to pick up our wedding clothes." My parents' frowns deepened, and they lowered their voices. "Stop this nonsense. Jessica is pregnant. She can't wait. If you keep this up, you'll make both you and your brother a laughingstock. You're the older one. Ethan, be the bigger person." My dad looked at me sternly, scolded me for being immature. I couldn't help the self-deprecating look in my eyes. For years, it was precisely because I was always the bigger person that Caleb could take whatever he wanted from me without any trouble. Even my own fiancée, all he had to do was snap his fingers, and he could lead her right to his bed. And now here he was at my wedding, crashing it with a pregnancy test, and kneeling on the floor with a pathetic look on his face. "Bro, I just found out Jessica's pregnant with my baby. It happened one night when she was drunk and thought I was you." Jessica put on a pained expression. "I'm carrying Caleb's child, Ethan. I can't marry you." The truth was, I'd known for a long time she thought I was stiff and boring, and had no intention of marrying me. This whole scene was just a drama she and Caleb cooked up. Facing my mother's accusations, I replied coldly, "Why should I be afraid of being a laughingstock? The one who steals his brother's fiancée is the real joke." I then turned my gaze to Jessica. "And so, is someone who gets pregnant before she's even married?" Jessica's eyes flashed with anger. "Ethan, who are you talking about? I told you it was an accident." She sneered, looking me up and down. "You're just doing this because you're cornered and don't know how to save face, aren't you? If you get on your knees and beg me, I'll even let one of my friends marry you." She said it with such a condescending, charitable tone, as if her friends would do whatever she commanded. Chloe was about to speak up for me, but I held her back. I simply said, "In your dreams." The color drained from Jessica's face. She shot me a venomous look before sitting back down. "Fine. Let's see how you get yourself out of this one." About 15 minutes later, a commotion erupted outside the venue. Chloe's assistant burst through the doors. "Ms. Hayes, the suit you requested has arrived." At her words, every head in the room turned toward the entrance, their faces filled with awe. "My God, is that a helicopter? Hayes is on another level having it flown in like that. Wait, am I seeing this right? Isn't it the award-winning ensemble from Paris Fashion Week 2 years ago? I heard it's worth millions. I can't believe I'm seeing it in person. Mr. Miller is a very lucky man." Chloe personally brought the suit to me. Her voice was even softer than her smile. "The wedding the Reeds planned for you was subpar. This is what you deserve." I nodded and went to the dressing room to change. When I stepped out again, a collective gasp went through the crowd. Wow, he looks incredible. Like a prince straight out of a fairy tale. It's true what they say. The clothes make the man. Anyone would look like $1,000,000 in that suit. Caleb shot to his feet, his fists clenched, staring daggers at me. That suit has to be a fake, he muttered, trying to convince himself. His voice was low, but few of the bridesmaids nearby heard him. They glanced over at him and scoffed. Are you sure your shoes aren't knockoffs? One said. And that watch is definitely fake. Don't assume everyone is as cheap as you are. Even though Caleb was my twin, his stunt of seducing Jessica behind my back had earned him complete contempt of these women. Behind his back, they all called him a total player. My parents glared at me, their eyes filled with envy. What makes you think you deserve to wear a suit like that? Take it off. This is your brother's wedding day. Stop trying to steal the show. I ignored them and walked right past. My mother actually tried to grab my suit jacket, but before she could touch me, one of Chloe's bodyguards stepped in her way. If you try to touch Mr. Miller again, Ms. Hayes will have you removed from the premises. I could feel their complicated stares on my back, but I didn't look back. With the path now clear, Chloe and I walked hand in hand to the altar, and led by the officiant, we exchanged rings. Seeing that we weren't joking in the slightest, the smile on Jessica's face slowly vanished. When the officiant pronounced us husband and wife and told me to kiss the bride, the crowd erupted, chanting, "Kiss her! Kiss her!" Jessica's face was ashen as she leaped to her feet. That's enough, Chloe. The act is over. I know you're just doing this to stand up for me, my friend, but you can stop now. Chloe looked up at her, her expression cold. You think this is an act? I've waited 6 long years for this day, for the chance to marry Ethan. Jessica was stunned. What are you talking about? Chloe didn't bother explaining. Just then, Caleb stood up, a smug smile on his face. You must have the wrong guy. Miss Hayes, you're one of my fans, right? My brother Ethan might look just like me, but he's nowhere near as fun. Caleb was full of himself. He was a minor influencer with over 300,000 followers on TikTok, where he'd post dance videos and occasionally push the envelope on his live streams to attract female fans. He genuinely believed that every woman he met was secretly obsessed with him. Seducing Jessica was just another way for him to prove his own appeal. He knew I'd been exclusive with Jessica for 6 years and rarely spoke to other women, so he assumed Chloe must have gotten us mixed up and actually wanted to marry him. Chloe just scoffed without a word. Caleb stood up again, scanning the other bridesmaids. I know you're all just good actors. The way you were all staring at my brother, you must have been pretending he was me, right? You're probably all my followers online. Since you're here, I can give you autographs. Just do me a favor and stop messing with my brother. If you keep this up, he's going to actually believe it. His words, however, were met with a wave of eye rolls. Who even are you? So full of yourself. Yeah, we're here for Ethan. Who the hell is Caleb Miller? There are tons of guys getting plastic surgery to look like Ethan these days. For all we know, you're just some creepy wannabe. Caleb's smile froze on his face. What? What did you just say? He tried to look calm, but inside he was fuming. He had never been humiliated like this in his life. Caleb's eyes were red with rage, but he couldn't let it go. He pointed at Chloe's phone and shouted for everyone to hear. The person Chloe likes is me. I know it. If you don't believe me, look at her phone. Her wallpaper is a picture of me. At his words, all eyes turned to Chloe. The guests gasped. Is there another twist of the story? That Caleb really has a way with women. How does every woman Ethan picks end up falling for him? Some guys just have it all. I guess that's what you call charisma. Hearing the murmurs around him, Caleb's arrogance returned. He believed there wasn't a woman alive he couldn't win over, and Chloe was a famous Hayes family Aries. If he could get her, he'd dump Jessica in a heartbeat. He looked at Chloe smugly. Miss Hayes, do you dare show everyone your phone's wallpaper? Chloe turned to me, her soft gaze, asking for my permission. I nodded. Go ahead. Chloe stepped forward, took out her phone, and lit up the screen. Caleb, who had been looking so triumphant, froze the moment he saw it. He bit his lip, his eyes filled with disbelief and resentment. Even though we're identical twins and strangers can't tell us apart, we know each other better than anyone. We can recognize each other in an instant. The man in the photo wasn't Caleb. It was me. How is that possible? Jessica cried out, rushing forward. Her eyes were wide as she stared at the phone screen. Chloe, why is a picture of my husband your wallpaper? She completely lost it, lunging forward and grabbing Chloe by the collar. When did you start having feelings for my husband? Or maybe her eyes widened in realization as she whipped her head toward me. This wasn't a random decision. You two planned this. I sneered. Let's be clear. No one here is your husband. So stop throwing that word around. With that, I took Chloe's hand in mine again. Jessica's eyes were glued to our joined hands, burning with jealousy. You're not acting. This is real. Chloe let out a cold laugh. You still don't get it, do you, Jessica? She pulled out her phone with a smile and opened their old iMessage group. Everyone in this chat, except for you, has been trying to get with Ethan. We even had a bet going on when you'd finally break up with him, so I could be his next girlfriend. Chloe then squeezed my hand and corrected herself. Oh, my mistake. His next wife. Jessica's face went white, and she staggered, nearly falling. What? She looked utterly shocked, as if she couldn't believe what she was hearing. I complained to you all in that group every single day. And you're telling me this whole time you were all trying to steal my boyfriend? The other bridesmaids dropped the act. 2. Jessica, who do you think you are? One of them spat. Did you really think we wanted to be your friend? The only reason we ever hung out with you was to get closer to Ethan. You're a disgusting person. Exactly. How did you get so lucky that Ethan even looked at you? We just never had the chance to show him who we really are, or he would have picked one of us ages ago. We couldn't even get on his radar. And you piece of trash, actually became his girlfriend and didn't even appreciate him. We wanted to slap you silly. The bridesmaids grew more and more agitated until they finally lunged at Jessica, letting out all their pent-up frustration. We've been putting up with you for so long, waiting for this day. We've been dying to do this and get some justice for Ethan. Jessica's makeup was smeared, her dress was torn, and they shoved her out of the hall. Caleb was thrown out right after her along with my hyper-equal parents. Without them, everything was suddenly peaceful, and with the blessings of our guests, Chloe and I finished our wedding ceremony. After the reception, Chloe held me tightly, her breathing unsteady. Ethan, I finally married you. I'm scared this is all a dream. I smiled, stroked her hair, and leaned in to kiss her. Does that feel like a dream? She practically melted, holding me even tighter. It reminded me of 3 months ago when she had cornered me against a wall, her eyes red with frustration. Ethan, that woman is a monster. What are you waiting for? Why won't you just break up with her? I didn't answer, so she pinned me against the wall herself. Her warm breath was on my face, her expression a mix of anger and desperation. Ethan, there are other women in the world. You have so many better options. Please, I'm begging you, just give me a chance. She pleaded with me, her eyes red like a pilgrim praying for a miracle. In that instant, an idea formed in my mind. If you help me with something, I said, and we pull it off, I'll be with you. Chloe was overjoyed and agreed, without a moment's hesitation. I had just found out back then that Caleb and Jessica were hooking up behind my back. I have zero tolerance for betrayal, and my first instinct was to dump Jessica immediately. But a simple breakup wouldn't have hurt her enough, and I wasn't going to let her off that easy. So I orchestrated this whole elaborate plan. If we were going to break up, I wanted to make sure she would never forget the pain of betrayal. Besides, Chloe had done so much to help me over the years, both personally and professionally, all because she wanted to be with me. The only reason she even hung out with Jessica was because Jessica was my girlfriend. The Reed family's business had exploded in the last 2 years, landing millions in contracts, but that was only because Chloe had been secretly feeding them opportunities. After all she'd done, helping me with this one little thing was nothing. Early the next morning, there was a loud banging on our door. It was Jessica's furious voice. Ethan Miller, open this door. You're going to explain this to me? What is going on between you and Chloe? I thought you were so innocent and traditional. You bastard. Were you cheating on me this whole time? Before I could even get up, Chloe swung the door open and punched Jessica square in the face, leaving her bruised and bleeding. Keep your filthy mouth shut. If I ever hear you speak of Ethan again, I'll make sure the entire Reed family is run out of Chicago for good. Jessica's face went pale, and the words died in her throat. She knew perfectly well that her family's recent success, their new money status, was entirely thanks to the generosity of the Hayes family eyes standing before her. "I'm sorry I was out of line." Jessica apologized over and over, but she still ended up being taken to hospital in an ambulance. That same morning, Chloe took me down to City Hall, and we officially registered our marriage. On the way back, we happened to run into Caleb, who was on his way to a doctor's appointment. He told his driver to floor it, aiming the car directly at me. Just as it was about to hit, Chloe yanked me out of the way. Caleb got out of the car and ran over, finding concern. "Oh my God, bro. Are you okay?" "I'm so sorry. I almost hit you. Look, I know. Things got crazy at the wedding. You only married Chloe to get back at me, right? You and Jessica were together for 6 years. You had something real. You can't just throw that away. I can talk to her. Maybe when our baby is born, we can let you two raise it. You could be the godfather. How about that?" I knew it wasn't a coincidence. He had been waiting here just to mess with me. "You don't need to worry about that. We'll have our own kids." I held up our marriage certificate. "Besides, I'm a married man now. Jessica is your problem, not mine." The color drained from Caleb's face, and he switched to insults. "You think Chloe is some kind of saint? Her personal life is a disaster. I hear she goes through boyfriends like tissues." "Bro, I'm only telling you this because we're family. You can't trust women like that these days." He had no idea that Chloe had intentionally cultivated that reputation to scare off unwanted suitors. I just smiled and pushed him aside. "Thanks for the concern, but I'll be fine. Why don't you focus on finding someone reliable for yourself and stay out of my business?" As I walked away, Caleb stomped his foot in frustration. "Ethan, when have you ever been better than me at anything? Don't think marrying Chloe Hayes puts you on top. Just you wait. Mom and Dad are going to throw a new wedding for me and Jessica, and it's going to be way bigger and better than yours." That thought finally seemed to cheer him up a bit. He went home and scrolled through the videos on his phone, all self-recorded during his tryst with Jessica. He picked out a few of the more explicit ones and used an app to deep-fake Chloe's face onto Jessica's body. Once he was finished, he sent the videos to me. "Bro thought you should see the real Chloe. She pretended not to know me at the wedding, but we've hooked up before. She's even wilder than Jessica." Just then, Jessica walked in, frowning. "Caleb, what are you doing?" He jumped, slamming his laptop shut. "Nothing, just watching a show." Caleb got up and started rubbing her shoulders. "Mom and Dad said they'll throw us another wedding next month. We can't put it off any longer or you'll start showing." Before he could finish, Jessica snapped. "Don't even talk about that." Caleb froze. "What's that supposed to mean?" Jessica pushed him away, her face a cold mask. "I don't want to get married yet. I want to have fun for a few more years. You're not the clingy type, Caleb, so don't start now." After finding out her best friends had betrayed her, Jessica had flown into a rage and deleted their group chat. She had always treated me like something she could discard at will, and she couldn't handle the fact that I was suddenly in high demand. More than that, she couldn't accept that her friends had only tolerated her to get close to me. The more she stood on it, the angrier she became, and her mind was on revenge, not marriage. But Caleb wasn't having it. He flew into a rage. "Jessica, listen to yourself. Are you serious? You're the one who came on to me." Jessica stood up, a cold smirk on her face. "I seduced you. Are you trying to play the victim here? Who was the one who deliberately wore Ethan's clothes, dressed up like his brother, and came up to hug me from behind? You were the one who couldn't keep in your pants, and now you're trying to blame me. Dream on. I'm bored of you anyway." She never had any intention of marrying Caleb. The plan was just to work with him to cause a scene at the wedding and humiliate me. She never imagined she would be the one left completely humiliated. Caleb's face was pale with disbelief as he watched her slam the door behind her. He felt like he'd poured his heart out for nothing. Downstairs, Jessica sat on the front steps, silently staring at her phone. She opened her iMessage conversation with me. We hadn't messaged in 2 weeks. Normally, I'd reply to whatever she sent, but our last exchange was from a fortnight ago. It was a lie she told me. I'm sleeping over at a friend's tonight. Won't be back. We both knew that she had spent that night in a hotel with Caleb. Thinking about it now, a sudden wave of guilt washed over her. She typed out a message. I'm sorry, Ethan. I shouldn't have played that stupid game. You can forgive me, right? When she hit send, a red exclamation point appeared next to the message. Jessica leaped to her feet. He blocked me. Jessica tried to calm herself down, then decided to go buy me some cheap peace offering, thinking that's all it would take to win me back. After all, for years, that's all it ever took to get me to forgive her. But just as she was about to head out, she got a frantic call from her assistant. Ms. Reed, it's an emergency. 5 or 6 of our major partners have just canceled their contracts. We're facing astronomical penalty fees. There's no way we can pay them. When Jessica got to the office and looked at the books, she realized that all of those contracts had come from companies Chloe had connected her with. She had even taken Chloe out for an expensive dinner to thank her at the time. Now realizing it all turned on her, Jessica flew into a rage, smashing her mug on the floor. You Chloe, so this was your plan all along. Her assistant stood by nervously. Ms. Reed, what do we do now? Jessica wearily pinched the bridge of her nose. Don't worry about it. I'll go talk to Chloe. See if I can salvage this. We used to be best friends. I can't believe she tried to ruin me over a man. Meanwhile, when I received the video from Caleb, I glanced at it, let out a cold laugh, and deleted it immediately. You trust me that much? Chloe asked, wrapping her arms around me from behind and chuckling softly. I laughed, too. It's not just that I trust you. It's that I've already seen the original videos. Jessica was always incredibly vain and could never keep a secret, especially when it came to showing off the men in her life. She didn't just post my private photos in her group chat. After she started sleeping with Caleb, she sent the videos they made to the group for everyone to admire. Little did she know, her best friends were all my informants, and they forwarded everything to me the second she posted it. Chloe saw the mix of scorn and sadness in my eyes, and her expression softened with sympathy. I hate that I didn't tell you how I felt sooner. Then you never would have ended up with her for these past 6 years. I felt silent, lost in thought. No one could have predicted how things would turn out. Even though Caleb and I are twins, my quiet nature meant my parents always favored his outgoing personality. I remember one time over a carton of ice cream, they both beat me and threw me out of the house on a rainy night. They taught me to be afraid, to never fight with Caleb over anything. But that was when I met Jessica. The first time she saw me, her eyes lit up. She held her umbrella over my head, even as the rain soaked through her own clothes. After that, she would often ride her bike over to see me, sharing her own breakfast with me when she saw I hadn't eaten. I'd stand outside the local arcade, too broke and embarrassed to go in. Jessica understood my situation and used her own allowance to take me inside, and we rode the carousel together. She even saw how much I wanted a kite from the gift shop and spent 2 weeks of her allowance to buy it for me. Back then, her eyes sparkled and she was full of youthful optimism. She told me, Ethan, as long as I'm here, I'll never let you. Those were the words that made me fall for her. Felt so good to finally have someone in my corner. But people change. After college, Jessica got a taste of money and developed some bad habits. She started drinking, staying out all night, and became materialistic and reckless, blurring the lines of our relationship. To my face, she was still the same loving, gentle person. But in her group chat, she spoke about me with zero respect. And then, right before our engagement, she met my twin brother, Caleb, and I saw that same light in her eyes again. On the night of our engagement party, I found them in the wine cellar locked in a passionate kiss. I knew right then that we were finished. After her company went into crisis, Jessica came to see Chloe again and again, but each time she was turned away by the bodyguards. Ms. Hayes is unavailable. Growing desperate, she started coming to find me instead. I refused to see her too. She started camping out at our front gate. One day, returning from an errand, she cornered me. When she heard a security guard refer to me as Mr. Hayes, her eyes went red and she rushed at me. Ethan, you can't marry her. Have you forgotten? I'm the one you love. She fumbled in her purse and pulled out an old journal. Look, this is a diary you wrote for me when you had a crush on me. You said you'd give it to me after we were married, so we could cherish it forever. You said you'd read it to me when we were old. When I didn't react, she pulled out a jar of paper stars. Look at these. You folded every single one of these for me yourself. It's me you love, not her. Chloe is a manipulative witch. She's just tricked you. Don't fall for it. Realizing I was truly married to Chloe, Jessica was consumed by regret, desperately begging me to take her back. I fought back the nausea rising in my throat and said with a cold smile, "You should take a good look in the mirror. See for yourself how disgusting and hypocritical you become. You're only coming back to me now because you're out of options and you've realized I was your best bet all along. I told you a long time ago, Jessica, if you play games with people's hearts, you'll eventually get played yourself. Consider this a small lesson. If you ever toy with someone's feelings like that again, I promise you the consequences will be far worse." With that, I turned to leave. Jessica tried to lunge for me to stop me from walking away, but the bodyguards intercepted her before she could even touch me, blocking her at the gate. "Jessica," I called back, "if you ever show your face here again, you'll have more to worry about than a corporate crisis. You'll be facing total bankruptcy." After that day, I tuned them out of my life completely and never asked about them again. About a month later, I heard through the grapevine what had happened to Jessica. To pay off the massive penalty fees, she had to sell her apartment and her car, becoming broke overnight. Even that wasn't enough. In the end, her company went bankrupt, and she was left with nothing. Even more shocking, Jessica, still pregnant, had tried to find some other guy to take her in, but Caleb, in an act of revenge, caused her to have a miscarriage. As for Caleb, his promiscuous lifestyle caught up with him. He contracted a nasty disease that left him covered in sores, and everyone started avoiding him like the plague. My parents were inconsolable. What did we do to deserve this? Our Caleb has always been such a good, obedient boy. How could this happen to him? Why couldn't it have been Ethan who suffered instead? I happened to be visiting home that day and stood in the doorway watching the scene unfold with cold detachment. Even after everything, they still wished I could take on Caleb's suffering for him. Sometimes the wounds from a parent's favoritism and unfairness never truly heal. Chloe got out of the car and took my hand. "Aren't you going in?" I shook my head and turned back to the car. "No, let's go home." The only place that felt like home anymore was the one I shared with her. Later, my parents realized their mistake and tried to see me many times, but I refused them every single time. Even now, whenever I think of them, I remember what I heard them say in that doorway. It's something I'll never be able to forget and never be able to forgive.